Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
Hey, Michelle, doing great. How are you today?
I'm good. Lindsay, what's your favorite kind of book to read?
Oh, I really like reading novels. Right now, I'm reading Wild by
Oh,
Cheryl Strayed, the story of the woman that hikes the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a great one. And she's such a good writer, actually.
you're
Uh,
rereading it, right?
I'm
You've
rereading.
already.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, that's great. Are you finding different things from when you read it the first time? Is this your
Yeah.
second time or
It's the
more
second
than that?
time. Yeah, it is interesting to I'm kind of taking it in differently. My perspective is different from 10 or 15 years ago when I read it
Interesting.
before. So, yeah, it is really interesting.
Ah, do you like to read textbooks?
I can't say I do, Michelle. Do you?
No, I can't imagine just, the end of the night trying to relax, glass of wine and a
In a
textbook.
textbook? No, thanks.
Exactly. But today we are going to talk about the word textbook, and we're going to talk about a really interesting way to use it that's not how you would think.
Yeah, it's not boring like reading a textbook. It's actually kind of slangy and fun
It's
to
re-
use it.
I actually I really like it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to let our listeners in on a little secret of how to be natural in English. But first, I do want to remind our listeners, Michelle, where's the best place to consume this podcast?
Oh, it's on our app, Lindsay. We have a really great app that's available for Android and iOS. And gosh, you can get so much over here, including your personal power or
Yeah,
playlist of
mhm.
words, right?
Yeah, your personal
Uh,
power list, vocabulary words.
Personal po
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah. Mhm.
exactly. You can get transcripts that you can follow along with. It's just great, Lindsay. And what else do we wanna say about our app?
Well, we now have these special role plays. They are
Right.
vocabulary recap role plays at the end of each week. They're only in the app, so you won't see them if you're listening in another podcast player or YouTube. You do need to be in the app and you do need to be a premium member to see those. But what we do is we take all the vocabulary words that were highlighted from the week in the transcripts in the app and we put them into one really cool role play. So you see it in
Yeah.
a new context. And this is what we need to learn a new word is see new contexts for words. All
That's
right.
great. Yeah, I love it. I love just mixing everything together
Yes.
to finish off the week.
You
So
got it.
to
Yeah.
get that app, guys, go to allearsenglish.com/app. That's APP.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see you guys over there.
See
All
you, see ya.
right.
All right. So, Lindsay, do you hear people use the word textbook when they're not talking about an actual textbook?
I definitely do, Michelle. That's why I'm glad we're talking about this today.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm excited to explain to our listeners how to do that, how to
Yes.
use it in more of a slang way, a commentary. Okay.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do this episode for a
Oh,
while.
really?
It always kind of enters. I think it's one of those things where I hear it and I think should do an episode, and then
Yeah.
I hear it again, and I think, and then finally, I'm glad I
Oh.
remembered to do it. So, this is a really fun one. So, when you use textbook in a different way, that doesn't actually mean a textbook. It's used to describe people and their behavior or how something is done. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's bad, but it's mostly just saying something is exactly what is expected or what someone would imagine or how someone would act. The idea is that it is what you would see in a textbook, right? So if you look up you know how something about English in a textbook, the idea is that's what you would find if there were a textbook on this subject.
Exactly. I love this. And you can hear this in so many different places, right? We have some
Mhm.
examples, and then maybe we have some examples from our lives. It just comes up all the time from different directions, right?
Mhm, mhm, exactly. So, instead of a long-winded explanation like I just gave, let's
Yeah.
give some examples.
I know that was kind of long, but it was good.
Yeah, that was a very long-winded, strange explanation. Sorry, guys.
Well, here's an example. This problem is not that complicated. It's actually pretty textbook. We have to remember our clients and their needs. That must be our guide. Okay. So
Mhm.
it's a standard problem. Okay.
Standard. That's a really good
Yes.
way to describe it. Standard.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like, this is the problem that we studied in marketing school, right? For example, business school,
Right.
okay?
Right.
In
And
that
maybe
textbook,
you
right?
studied it
Yeah,
in a textbook, right?
yeah.
So it could be that something actually would have been in a textbook. But here we go. Here's another one. Her behavior is textbook teenager right now. I wouldn't think anything of it.
Textbook teenager, I love it. That's so funny. Oh, your kids are heading in that direction, Michelle. Get
Oh,
ready. Get
what
ready.
so what does that mean when I say textbook teenager?
Well,
And
it's
don't
like all
scare
the
me,
things
Lindsay.
you kind of expect from a teenager, a little angsty. When I think of teenagers, I mean, obviously not everyone, but I mean, I had this, this
Oh, so
time,
did I.
especially more preteen years, early teen, like
Yeah.
11, 12, 13, 14,
Right.
angsty, railing against their parents a little bit,
Right.
rebelling against their parents, talking back, right?
Right.
Being
Right.
fresh. Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. And sometimes I think as a parent, it's probably pretty easy to get offended by this. But so that's why somebody might say, oh, it's textbook teenager, meaning
Yeah.
they'll grow out of this is what always happens, right?
Totally. It's exactly what we would expect from a teenager. So it's kind of a reassuring when you say this to someone,
Yeah.
it normalizes what they're going through, what they're
It's
dealing with.
true. It's
Yeah.
true. Or what's
Yeah.
another example?
The eye exam didn't reveal anything that wasn't textbook. I think we know how to handle this. Now, sometimes you don't want to hear, like, for example, a few weeks ago, I had a bout with shingles, which I thought was
Yeah.
something like 80-year-old women got, but apparently you can get it at any age. And I had
Yeah.
it on my face and it was so painful and awful. And I did a telehealth appointment and I thought I
Mhm.
had hives. I thought I had hives. And as soon as I got on the call, the doctor saw my face and he said, "Oh, this is textbook shingles. It's just down
Uh,
one side of your body." That's the last thing I want to hear, but that is another place we might hear it from a doctor. They're
mhm,
literally saying,
mhm,
like, this is what I studied in medical school. This is a perfect
mhm.
presentation. I know exactly what this is. Okay.
Right. You might hear also, I think, people in the mental health industry using
Yes.
this, right? That the way it's textbook OCD, it's
Yeah.
textbook,
Sure. Sure, sure, sure.
something like that.
As opposed to maybe a more complicated diagnosis where maybe it's a combination of things
Mm.
or they're not sure or they're, what do they call it, differential diagnoses where there are other
Mhm.
things that it could be. I'm not a doctor, but you know. So that's the opposite of this. This is when something is very clearly expected as
Straightforward.
symptoms or kind of the presentation of something, a behavior or a condition, right?
Yeah,
Love it.
exactly.
All right, Michelle, we are back. So, how else might we express this if we want to say the same thing, but we don't want to always say textbook, textbook,
Yeah.
textbook? Kind of boring.
Well, this goes back to what you said in the beginning, standard,
Yeah.
right? So you could also say typical, standard or typical, but you could say this all looks pretty standard to me. No surprises here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or quintessential. Now, I like this one. It's a little more, has more personality, I think.
Yeah.
They are the quintessential cute family. So much fun to be around. Yeah. Yeah. We could do another episode on that word because that one is high
Quintessential.
level, Michelle.
That is definitely. Or a classic. You could say, this is classic Tiffany, late again.
I like that one too. I like it. This is what she does, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Tiffany
Yep.
might not love it when you say that, but
Right.
you know, what feels
Lin-
most natural to you, Michelle? Which of these?
Hmm. I think classic or textbook. What do you think?
Yeah, I like classic too, especially for a person. This is
Mhm.
classic. Whoever, John, he's doing this again. This is something I expect to see from him. It's what he
Mhm.
does.
Mhm, mhm. Lindsay, do you have an example that you can think of that's textbook in your life or what is textbook Lindsay or textbook Michelle? Do we have anything that we can
Mm.
think of?
Textbook Lindsay is definitely coming up with lots of big ideas and then getting very and trying to execute on all of them and getting stressed out that I can't get them all done. I love I get like this dreaminess in this dreamy state. We could do this, we could do that. We could do it all at the same time. We don't need to wait. No, we could
That's
do them
so
all. That
funny.
is textbook Lindsay. What
But
about
that's
textbook
good.
Michelle? Yeah, it's good. What about you, Michelle?
Textbook Michelle is saying that it's a good idea to go to sleep early tonight, and then it's 1:30 in the morning and I'm still awake,
You're scrolling
and
Instagram or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's textbook Michelle.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, you've shared with us before that you're a night owl. So
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
interesting. All right, good. Yeah.
All right, let's do a role play. So here we are reviewing notes that our friend took for us in class.
Okay, here we go.
Can you read this?
No.
Wow, this is really textbook Michael. I can never read his handwriting.
Yeah, it seems pretty standard to me.
Well, I'm just thankful for the notes. Seems like this was the quintessential boring lecture.
Seems that way. Classic for this professor.
That's true.
Yeah, very common conversation you might have with college friends, right?
Yeah.
Did you often in college have friends take notes for you and skip class, or did you?
Oh, no, no, I'm
No, not a class skipper. Nope.
No, what about you?
No, of course not. Are you kidding me?
I think we're the goody two shoes,
We're the
right,
goody
Lindsay?
goodies. Yeah, no, I didn't skip class in college. Nope. I needed to be there taking the notes.
Yeah, exactly,
No.
exactly.
All right.
So
All right. So you said, can you read this? And I said, no. And then you said, wow, this is really textbook Michael. I can never read his handwriting. So what are you saying here about Michael?
that we all know that he has terrible handwriting, so we
Yes.
kind of expected it.
Yes, exactly. And then what did I say?
You said, "Yep, seems pretty standard." So,
Mhm.
yep.
Nice. And then we brought in this word that I love, which is quintessential. Seems like this was the quintessential boring lecture. So
Mm,
maybe the professor is very known for these boring lectures, right? He's got a
yep,
reputation around campus.
exactly, and that's why you said, "Seems that way, classic for this professor."
Yes, I love this conversation. Really good. Really good. Yeah. Where else can our listeners go, Michelle, to keep listening to Allers English today?
Guys, going over to episode 2366, that was "Don't Blow Off This English Vocabulary" episode.
Excellent. Where should we leave our listeners?
This is just a really interesting way to connect. I mean, we were talking about it a little bit in the beginning. It can be used to reassure someone of something.
Yes.
It can be used to poke fun of something. So there's just a lot of ways that you can use this to actually connect. You can even use it to poke fun at yourself.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
so this is very versatile, this word and this idea, and it's definitely a good idea to give it a try. But I wouldn't say everything is textbook, right? We don't wanna
Yeah.
overdo it.
Yeah, and there's a little bit I think this is a fantastic word. Be a little bit careful when you're talking about people because maybe they're trying to change, and if you always say, "Oh, that's
Yeah. Oh,
textbook
text
you did
right.
it again," but they're actually trying to change, then that
Mhm.
could be hurtful. But
Mhm.
generally, I think this is used in a pretty harmless way, don't you think, for
Yeah, I
connection?
think so.
Yeah,
I
I
think
love it.
so, but yeah. So give
Yeah.
it a try and, yeah, let us know how it goes.
All right, Michelle, you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
Alright, bye.
Bye.